Right guys, I did promise after I'd finished the Skye Trail that I would give you a quick look at the stuff that I took, and then also what I liked using, what I didn't, and what I didn't completely use at all, and some of my favourite pieces. So let's get into it. This is pretty much how the pack was packed, shall we say. So we'll start off with the pack. So this is the Z-Pack's Arc Air Ultra, the DCF version. Now I made a couple of tweaks before I went away. The first one was adding this pouch here, so I could store some items on the side, and this came really helpful for some quick access items, so I'll come on to that soon. On this side, I had the pouch, which originally I was going to be having the drone in, but I didn't. I kept everything else in there, you know, sweets, snacks, whatever. I also kept my map and also the DJI Osmo Action 6, which was class as usual. I paired it up with a mic for most of the time, and it was brilliant. Batteries were absolutely class as well. I ended up changing out this shoulder strap as well. So originally I had a pouch which was going to have my phone and everything in, but actually upon looking back, what I wanted was somewhere I could access water and electrolytes really quickly. So having this pouch was really handy. I just put in I think this is a 500ml, 600ml bottle, and I would just top it up with the electrolytes, and I could just keep going all day and you know, refill it when I needed. Hip belt pockets, I ended up taking those off and then storing them in the pack because they got really annoying. They came loose quite often, and it just got on my nerves, and I didn't need access to them straight away, so I ended up just storing them in the pack. Capture clip, awesome. You've probably seen on the other videos, used it all the time. Bit of a quick release, so I was able to store my Sony, which I'm filming on now, in here, and then I'd also store the tripod, which is on there now. I had a little contraption here, so I'd store it in there, in here, and I could quickly get to it when I needed to. 9 times out of 10, I've normally got the camera and the tripod connecting as I'm walking, but when you're using trekking poles to help, you can't really do that, so quick access was always paramount. On the sides, 2 Acti bottles, like I said, 1 litres, just kept them filled up when I needed them. And then also on the side is where I kept the trekking poles. So the trekking poles is where I kept them. These were the Trekmates Carbon. They were absolutely brilliant. I forgot to take the rubber tips off, and I ended up just keeping them on, and they've come a bit worn, but absolutely fine. Perfect for the Durston X-Mid Pro 1. Very solid, really adjustable. No issues with these whatsoever. Then to the outside, or the back pocket, this thing here, this Sprayway jacket, this is what I used to stay dry, and I tell you what, this was absolutely phenomenal. I'll just check the model. It's a Cape Wrath jacket. You'll see a bit of a theme with this. Cape Wrath jacket. You'll see Tropness Ridge, second day, sideways rain, you know, 20-mile-an-hour, 30-mile-an-hour winds. This thing actually didn't even wet out. There was a tiny bit on the sleeves. I did seal it before I went, so I put it in the air dryer for, I think it was like 12 minutes or something, on quite a low setting, just to try and bring that Gore-Tex membrane back, and it worked absolutely brilliantly. Top class piece of kit. Couple of squidgies, they came in handy for wiping down tents and whatever else you wanted to wipe down condensation wise. Nope, I don't know why this is in here, but this was a Zenbivy large inflatable pillow. I actually took 2, a regular and a large. I'll come on to the Zenbivy soon, but super comfy. Pegs, very simply, in the Wild Skye gear, and I took, these are the big Skye tube stakes. Brilliant, solid, kept things nice and tidy. I think I took about 12 pegs altogether. Another bit of gear, which was good. This is a first for me as well. So this was the Platypus Quick Draw with their 1 litre pack. Really super easy to use. One of the best things is you could hook it up to the Acti bottles and just pour it straight in. Super easy. One thing I did found is when you connect it to a bottle, if you just loosen it off ever so slightly, the air can escape and the water goes a bit quicker. But that was great. Really enjoyed using it. Super quick as well. So plenty of water to be found on the trail. I know everyone said that on the Tropness Ridge there isn't much water. I found loads. Maybe it's the first mile there isn't, but there was plenty. And it was raining, so I think that's it in terms of what's in there. I will just jump onto this side pocket. So I use this to store my drone so I can have quick access to it. But essentially, I had my drone in a DCF pouch. I haven't popped that very well, but that's fine. In a DCF pouch which was attached here, so it would never go missing. But I had quick access, so I'd get in, use the drone, and whack it back in. If it was raining or if it was going to get really wet, I popped it in here. Just popped it in the main compartment. I opted to go for something for the big camera, even though it's weather-filled. So for the Sony, I used this JJC Amazon waterproof cover, which was a godsend, especially on things like the Shotness Ridge, and it just literally goes over your camera. I just have to watch for condensation, that's all, because that's probably the killer for the camera rather than direct rain. But worked well, kept out on the side in case I needed it. Right, into the main compartment now. Let's have a little look. Trying to do this all in one take. So, onto the shelter. The X-Mid Pro 1. What can I say? Super lightweight, super strong, spacious, 2 vestibules. Really enjoyed using it. There was very, very little downside. And obviously when it was getting wet or condensation, you could shake it off, dry it, and it was dry for the next time you pitched, rather than if you're maybe using a poly or a nylon where it gets soaked through from the wet. This just sheds it, so it doesn't retain any water. And it also means it doesn't gather any weight as well. So thoroughly enjoy using that. Stood up to some decent winds, so perfect. Cook system, which you've seen in the first video, in this Wild Skye gear bag. So spoke, didn't use near enough gas as I thought I would. This was just one, I think it's a 220 grams, didn't use all of it. Plenty of food along the way, had some spare caps for the filter. The BRS stove, which was brilliant. As long as you wanted a little bit of cover and you weren't trying to boil water in the open, it was fine, but it's like 12 grams or something. Superb, you've had that for years, still works. I also had my little Gerber knife, just in case, you never know. Good for popping blisters. And then in to the system, which was the Soto lighter, what's it called? Just a Soto lighter. It's filled right up, so you pop that down. Super easy to use, reliable. And then I just had a titanium pot. I think this is a Torx maybe. And then a couple of little bits in there, cup as well. But yeah, more than enough for what I needed for boiling water. So I had a lot of people saying that there wasn't many places to eat along the way, but for me there was loads. I managed to get 2 or 3 meals elsewhere. And if you put your timings right, there's a lot of food vendors along a particular, tourist hotspots as well. So I'd recommend kind of timing that, and you'll get a nice sausage butty or something like that. Onto electrics, I just kept it in this DCF bag as well. Seen better days actually, so I'll probably need to get a new one. Had an insulated pouch from Valiant Peak. I kept all my batteries. I didn't change any of the batteries out in terms of what I was taking. I kept exactly the same. So it was 3 batteries for the DJI Mini Pro 4, 3 for the Sony and 3 for the DJI Osmo Action. And there was plenty of places to charge up, and I didn't use as much as I thought I would. Probably because the Shotness Ridge, I found it difficult to film in torrential rain. I also took these 2 power banks, which were the Night Core. And I have to say, I'm slightly disappointed with these. The battery would just go straight away, one charge, and it's meant to be 20,000 milliamps. And yeah, safe to say, these weren't that good. I do have a bit of a heavier one, which is a 26,000 milliamp and it's an Amazon no brand, and it's miles better than this. Yes, it doesn't weigh as light as these, but it is more reliable. I think I got 2 charges on my phone off a 20,000 milliamp Nightcore Air, and this one is a 5,000, which will get me 1 charge, so wasn't that impressed with those. Hooked the DJI Mic 2 up to the DJI Osmo Action 6. Lasted ages. It's got a separate record function. Really, really good. Took a bit of a battering in the rain, but perfect. Worked really, really well. I also took the Mic Mini as well to have with the Sony A7C2. Other than that, just a host of wires. Oh, I did use the Note 10 pump. I'm not sure what it's called actually. Oh, it's called the Torv Breeze, which is 25 grams, but that plugs into your battery bank and blows up your airbed. Okay, 2 side pouches, which were originally on here, but I changed my mind. I took them off. Pretty much, I had a head net in one, which I didn't have to use. There was maybe one time where there was midge, very, very little, which we expected in May. And then also in here, I kept a buff, and also I kept my first aid kit and repair system as well. Couple of key things that I did. This piece of Leuco tape here is an absolute godsend. Anyone who's doing long distance hiking, get yourself a roll of Leuco tape, and anytime you feel a hot spot, just whack some of this on. My toes and my heels were all covered in this, but it just helps with rubbing and prevents blisters. I also took a little cork ball and used that to roll out any of the tough spots. Anyway, I was feeling particular sore, and that was really good. And then one other thing I did pick up on the way, which was some sea salt. So what I was doing is just supplementing that into any of the freeze-dried meals that I had. Not only to give it a bit of flavour, but also get some salts in my body. Toothpaste and toothbrush, essential, a tick, and I only came across 2 ticks altogether. Didn't see any others. And then a couple of repair patches, and also some wipes for my camera lens, some VCF patches, and lastly, a little strip of tenacious tape, because you never know. But that was included in there. Didn't really need to get it out, so I ended up just putting that in the pack. Probably onto the hero item of the trip in terms of clothing. Yes, it's a little bit scrumpled up, but this forms a 3-part system, and I only took 1 part actually. But this is the Cape Wrath jacket from Sprayway, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I wore pretty much every single day. It is a windstopper layer. I do have the fleece that goes inside, and it all fixes together. But this is absolutely mint. I love the colour, I love the fit, I love the style, but also the function of what it is. You know, being able to just chuck something on that's super lightweight, and then also just keeps that wind off you, keeps you a little bit dry, a little bit warm. And if it gets wet, it dries super quickly. Just hang it out for 5 minutes and it's dry. So I wore that the whole time. You've probably seen it. Where the sun was a bit too much or the wind was a bit too much, I could put the hood up. It's got a peak cap a peak, what do we call that? Hood, maybe, with a bit of wire in there so you could shape it a little bit. And it's very, very breathable as well, so I wasn't sweating out. And also, a lot of these jackets sometimes don't have pockets. So you'll see a lot of these lightweight windstoppers will not have any pockets whatever. This has, so you can store stuff in, which is really important when you're filming. Super piece of gear. This is, let me check, what's it called? The Fractal hat, which got used loads as well. So just to keep the sun off, wind off, could do it both ways. But another good bit of gear from Sprayway. Nice little colourway as well. What's the best way to describe this? So I tried to go a bit lighter weight, and I put in a pair of, as you've probably seen from the first video, a pair of Frog Tug waterproof pants, and that was a mistake. They ripped instantly. Terrible piece of kit. Even just from friction of walking, it ripped. But to be honest, did say in the video, if my legs get wet, I'm not that bothered, because I was always going to be wearing shorts, and I wore these Sprayway shorts, which I've had for about a year, and they're my favourite pair of shorts. Awesome, quick dry, covers a nice portion of your leg, doesn't rub, they're not too tight, nice and loose, and look great, a nice little colourway as well. But these were mint, superb. I think next time I'll take a pair of my Gore-Tex Sprayway waterproof pants. Onto the main compartment. So this was all kept within this Osprey bag. Now, this Osprey bag is probably about 5 years old, and it is starting to wet out a bit. I noticed at the bottom it was leaking slightly, so I was a little bit concerned, but everything else was in some other dry bags. So from an insulation perspective, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to take. I was pretty unsure, if I'm honest, whether to take a down jacket or a synthetic. I'd end up going for the Octo, and this is the down jacket, and I'm really glad I did, because a lot of the times if I was, you know, soaking or wet or damp, I was able to take my clothes off, put my sleep system on, put this on, and I was super warm. Really, really good warmth to weight ratio. And if I remember correctly, this is the Octo, oh sorry, the Otto jacket. Down, perfect, nice fit. Sometimes with the down jackets, it's massive. This is lovely, and it worked really, really well. I paired it up as a bit of a pillow as well. I suppose multiple uses from this as, and sometimes if I was cold, I could push it down the bottom of the sleeping bag just for the bottom of my feet to give some extra insulation. Not that I really needed it, if I'm honest, but enjoyed using that. Onto the couple of big pieces. I'll go through these first. So I did take a pair of pants as well, Sprayway pants, which I just kept at the bottom. But because I had no waterproof pants, I wasn't that bothered. And if I'd wore these and they got wet, I would have been soaking. I think I wore them one day, but I've worn them before. Brilliant, lightweight, couple of pockets, superb. Yeah, nice little ties at the bottom to keep everything nice and tight. This was my t-shirt of choice. So this is one of their active wears. Another Sprayway. Yeah, superb, lightweight, dries quick, nice and airy. Sleep system, or sleepwear. I had the OMM core hoodie, which is great. I've had that for a long time as well. It's maybe seen some better days, so I may have to replace that with something else. But lightweight, and I used that to pair that up if I got a bit cold. And then some generic, these are actually little Aldi merino wool base layer bottoms, but again, I've had them for years, and they're absolutely sound, especially for some warmer climates. I do have some thicker Sprayway ones if it is really, really cold. I'll jump onto footwear. So I used the Ultra Olympus 6. So I've had the 4 and the 5. So I used these ones for the first time. I had worn them in, but for more long distance, super comfy, amazing grip, pretty lightweight as well, and also dry super quick if they get wet. So I thought, I'm going to get wet feet, so I want something that's going to dry out. I don't want to be wearing boots, and because of me Achilles tendon rupture, I tend not to wear boots that often because it just digs right in. But yeah, super comfy, never really had any issues. Had a couple of blisters, but that was probably more my fault for not preparing properly. My actual sleep system, so the Zenbivy ultralight bed. What can I say about this? What a piece of gear. This is phenomenal. I've waited ages for this to get a hold of one, and I have, and honestly, it transforms your sleep when you're out camping. Like, I always have trouble. You know, I'm a bit of a side sleeper, so I've always struggled. You know, drafts coming in, especially when I use quilts and things, but the system that this has and what it packs down to is phenomenal. This packing cube that they've got, the Zenbivy 10 litre one, is mint. Like, being able to put everything in here and shove it right down. So in here, I've got the pillow, so that's the regular pillow with the little soft bit of topper on top. I've then also got a quilt. So this is their -4 ultralight 900 fill power, Muscovy down. top piece of gear. And you can use that without the rest of the stuff as well if you really want, to keep everything lightweight. And then I also had paired it with the fast sheet. So this is their ultralight fast sheet. It's got a little bit of fill in down on this front section here, which was mint, and then it just fastens to your pad. So it's just superbly comfy. You know, when you've been walking all day, you just want to get in and have something nice. That was it. And then lastly, the Zenbivy UL pad, which has a 4.8 rating, 4.5 rating, around about 500 grams. So not dissimilar to the Thermarest I was going to take anyway. It doesn't have quite the insulation, but obviously the fit of the Zenbivy is pretty important. So bit of a different setup baffles wise compared to the Thermarest, which I'm quite happy about. Much more comfortable. Like I say, not as warm, but that didn't matter. We didn't get below 0 on any of the days, so for me that was fine. And even if I did, I think I would have been absolutely fine pairing it with some of the other items in the systems that I built together. So, couple of changes from the original video that I had. I changed the waterproof jacket, some down jacket, and a couple of other little bits, but very very similar. And I was really happy with the weight that I was carrying. I did also have obviously freeze-dried meals and snacks in there, and I would just top up as I went. I didn't need anywhere near the freeze-dried meals that I thought I would, based on some of the places that I stayed, which meant it was really easy. So I was only carrying probably 2 days worth of food at any one point, and no more than that, and probably no less. I just kept them in there just in case I needed them, or if I was a little bit more hungry. So what do you think about I took? Anything else you would have changed, or any comments on the gear? If you've got any questions about what I used and you want to know a little bit more, just drop them down in the comments section, and I'll catch you on the next one.